Here is why there won't be a flood of foreclosures coming to the housing market. Listen to this. With the rapid shift that's happened in the housing market this year, some people are raising concerns that we are destined for a repeat of the crash we saw in 2008. But in truth, there are many key differences between what's happening today and the bubble in the early 2000s. One of the reasons this isn't like the last time is the number of foreclosures in the market is much lower now. And here is a look at why there won't be a wave of foreclosures flooding the market. Number one, not as many homeowners are in trouble this time. What does it mean? After the last housing crash, over 9 million households lost their homes due to a foreclosure, a short sale, or because they simply gave it back to the bank. This was mainly because of more relaxed lending standards, where people could take out mortgages they ultimately couldn't afford, right? And those lending practices led to a wave of distressed properties, which made their way into the market and caused home values to plummet. But today, revised lending standards have led to more qualified buyers. And as a result, there are fewer homeowners who are behind on their mortgages. Number two, there have been fewer foreclosures over the last 2 years. And now listen to this. While you may have seen recent stories about the number of foreclosures rising today, context is very important. During the pandemic, many homeowners were able to pause their mortgage payments using the special forbearance program, right? And that program gave homeowners facing difficulties extra time to get their finances in order and, in many cases, work out a plan with their lender, right? And with that program, many were concerned it would result in a wave of foreclosures coming to the market. But that fear didn't materialize because data from the New York Fed shows there are still fewer foreclosures happening today than before the pandemic. See this graph below. That means while there are more foreclosures now compared to last year when foreclosures were paused, right? The number is still well below what the housing market has seen in a more typical year like 2017 through 19. And most importantly, the number we are seeing right now is still far below the number we saw during the market crash, which is shown in the red bars in this graph. The big takeaway: don't let the headlines mislead you. While foreclosures are up year over year, historical context is essential to understanding the full picture. And number three, many homeowners today have enough equity to sell their homes instead of facing foreclosure. Because due to rapidly rising home prices over the last 2 years, the average homeowner has gained record amounts of equity in their home, like probably you did too. And if they've stayed in their homes longer enough, they may have even gained more equity than they realize. So bottom line is this: if you see headlines about the increasing number of foreclosures today, remember that context is important. And while it's true the number of foreclosures is higher now than it was last year, foreclosures are still well below the pre-pandemic years. If you have questions, let's connect.